In the world of professional wrestling, some names are royalty: Rhodes, Anoa'i, Hart. These are dynasties built on sweat, sacrifice, and a bloodline forged in the squared circle. But what happens when a name you think you know, a name synonymous with Hollywood blockbusters and untouchable action heroes, decides to step into that very same circle? Not for a movie role, but for a fight. This isn't just the story of Steven Seagal's daughter. This is the story of a dream that was almost stopped cold by a major setback and a gritty comeback that has people wondering what's next. Forget what you think you know about legacy. Forget the red carpets and the movie premieres. Because Arisa LeBrock's journey from Hollywood royalty to a dusty, old-school wrestling academy redefines what it means to fight for your own name. Her story is one of resilience that is almost hard to believe. To understand where Arisa LeBrock is going, you first have to understand the colossal shadow she was born under. Her father is Steven Seagal, a name that for decades was a global brand. He wasn't just an actor. He was a legitimate and high-ranking Aikido practitioner, often cited as a seventh Dan black belt, who famously became the first non-Japanese person to operate an Aikido dojo in Japan. Her mother is Kelly LeBrock, an icon in her own right. She was the star of massive hits like Weird Science and The Woman in Red, a supermodel who defined an entire era of beauty and style. Growing up as the child of two larger-than-life figures is a unique kind of pressure. Every door is open to you, but none of them feel like your own. Every success is questioned, with whispers of nepotism and privilege. Arisa felt this weight from a young age. She knew early on that if she was going to build something real, she couldn't simply ride the coattails of her family name. So she chose a path that was seemingly a world away from her father's dojos and her mother's runways. She entered the world of plus-size modeling. It was a deliberate choice, a way to carve out her own space and champion a message of body positivity. She found success, appearing professionally as a model, and even starring in the 2017 Lifetime reality series Growing Up Supermodel, a show whose very title perfectly captured the challenge she faced. She was building an identity, separate from her parents, on her own terms. But while the fashion world saw a model, a different kind of fire was burning just beneath the surface, a passion that connected to her father's legacy, but was entirely her own. That fire was for combat, but not the choreographed, cinematic fighting of her father's movies. Arisa was drawn to something far more raw and undeniably real: Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. For those unfamiliar, BJJ is one of the most respected and challenging martial arts on the planet. It's a ground-based discipline often called human chess, where technique and leverage are used to control and submit an opponent. There are no stunt doubles or carefully edited sequences. It's pure, unfiltered combat. This wasn't just a casual hobby, it became a passion. She began training relentlessly at the respected Paragon JiuJitsu and Kickboxing Academy in California. This was her first true test, a way to prove to herself that she possessed the heart of a fighter. She wasn't just a famous name. She was an athlete, willing to put in the hours on the mat to learn, fail, and improve. This journey into BJJ was more than just physical training. It was the foundation of her new identity. She was no longer just the daughter of an action star. She was a legitimate grappler with a credible skill set. The discipline she learned on the BJJ mats lit a fire for a different kind of competition. That fire led her down a wild and unexpected path, one that would merge the performance art of her mother and the combat art of her father in the most unlikely of places: the squared circle of professional wrestling. In December 2019, the wrestling world buzzed with an unexpected headline. Arisa LeBrock had been invited for a multi-day tryout at the WWE Performance Center in Orlando, Florida. For any aspiring wrestler, this is the golden ticket. The Performance Center is a state-of-the-art dream factory, but it's also a meat grinder, a brutal ordeal designed to push athletes to their absolute breaking point. This wasn't just a publicity stunt, WWE reportedly saw a unique combination of assets. She had a marketable look, a famous lineage, and most importantly, a legitimate BJJ background that gave her a credible combat base. This was her chance to show the biggest wrestling company on the planet that she belonged. She was ready to embrace the grind and prove every doubter wrong. And then, the momentum came to a sudden halt. The dream was put on pause. In the time after the tryout, Arisa reportedly suffered an injury that forced her to take a step back from her wrestling ambitions just as they were beginning. Imagine the weight of that moment. You decide to chase this impossible dream. You stand on the very edge of a new beginning, and then it's all put on hold. For Arisa, this was a devastating blow, a setback that could have easily been the end of the story. If you're finding this story of resilience as incredible as we are, take a moment to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You won't want to miss how this journey unfolds, because the comeback is even more surprising than the setback. For a while, the story of Arisa LeBrock the wrestler faded away. The internet buzz died down, and she vanished from the wrestling world. It seemed like the experiment was over. But then, she re-emerged in an unlikely place, training with wrestling legend Dustin Rhodes. For those who don't know, Dustin Rhodes, known for decades as the iconic Goldust in WWE, is wrestling royalty. He's the son of the legendary American Dream Dusty Rhodes and a hugely respected figure known for his incredible longevity and deep understanding of the business. He now runs the Rhodes Wrestling Academy in Austin, Texas, a place where he molds the next generation with an old-school focus on passion and hard work. Arisa made the monumental decision to move from California to Texas and go all in on a second chance. The Rhodes Wrestling Academy is a world away from the polished vibe of the WWE Performance Center. It's a tough, sweat-stained gym where respect is earned. Here, Arisa wasn't just a number in a massive tryout, she was a student, learning the fundamentals directly from a master. Dustin Rhodes later spoke about her dedication, noting how she had come from a modeling background and was working hard to get all her ducks in a row. In an interview with Sports Guys Talk Wrestling, he praised her work ethic, stating, "She's doing a great job, but this is only the beginning for her." He saw the fire in her. He saw a wrestler. After months of grueling, transformative training, her moment of truth finally arrived. In March 2023, Arisa LeBrock competed in a student showcase for the Rhodes Wrestling Academy, marking her official in-ring debut. It wasn't in some giant arena under the glare of TV cameras. It was in an intimate setting, in front of a small, passionate crowd of people who understand the blood, sweat, and tears it takes just to step through those ropes. As she made her entrance, she wasn't just a model or a celebrity's daughter. She was a survivor. She was a professional wrestler. Observers noted her impressive power, seeing the potential of a formidable new force in the women's division. This debut was a revelation. This wasn't a model playing wrestler. This was a fighter who had clearly integrated her BJJ background with the psychology of professional wrestling. You could see it in her confidence and in the raw power she displayed. She had not only overcome a major setback, but she had also conquered the self-doubt that comes with it. She had finally stepped out of her parents' massive shadows and into the squared circle, entirely on her own terms. The journey was far from over, but in that small building in Texas, Arisa LeBrock made a statement. She had earned her place. Arisa LeBrock's story is a powerful lesson in resilience. She entered the public eye carrying the immense weight of two iconic names, a Hollywood shadow that could have easily defined her. She first stepped out of it on her own terms, becoming a model who championed a message of self-love. But it was her audacious leap into professional wrestling that truly began the process of forging her own unique legacy. Her path has been anything but glamorous. It was marked by a dream-slowing injury and a period of struggle that would have broken a lesser person. Yet she refused to let her story end there. Guided by a wrestling legend, she rebuilt herself from the ground up. trading a life of comfort for the sweat and sacrifice of the mat. She has proven that a famous name isn't always a free pass. Sometimes it's a heavier burden to carry. The journey is really just beginning. She is building her career the right way, earning her stripes one match at a time and commanding respect through her skill rather than relying on her name. The setback that once seemed like a tragic ending has turned out to be a character-forging detour. Arisa LeBrock isn't just carrying her family's name anymore. She is actively redefining it in her own image, with her own grit. The biggest question now is what her ceiling truly is, with all the tools to become a compelling figure in the wrestling landscape. So what do you think? With her unique background and training under a legend like Dustin Rhodes, what do you think is next for Arisa LeBrock? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of professional wrestling.